Hello, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today's layout is for Mixed Media Frenzy, which is where a group of us get together on a Friday for a YouTube hop and we pick a layout to scraplift or draw inspiration from, and this is the layout here that we have chosen for this week. I've actually decided to stick pretty close to this one because I really liked it. So I've made myself a cut file on my silhouette, really easy to do. I just made a circle, offset it, duplicated it a few times and overlapped it, and then I just welded them together to take out the internal lines, and it left me with this gorgeous cut file that I'm using. I'm also using a new collection to me. This is P13's When We First Met. It's not my normal style at all, but I really fancied a change, so I've thought I'd give it a go. I've got some Bramble Fox perspectives I'm going to try and get on the layout, some flares and also some wooden veneers that are little heart shapes. So I'm going to have my layout off centre. I'm going to have my circle cut file over onto the right hand side. I've got a photo of my little boy and I on a walk last summer, and I'm using a Bramble Fox title that says Take Time Out. So the original layout has some mixed media behind the circle element, so I'm going to stick with that, and I'm adding some colour using a Distress Oxide here in Chipped Sapphire. My initial plan was to try and add some splatters and kind of move them about with a paintbrush, but I was a bit worried that that was just going to go everywhere all over my page. So I'm using the packaging technique instead and just trying to keep my my ink onto a very small area of the packaging so I can just follow that circular shape with it. I don't want it to be too neat, I want it to show out from underneath my cut file, and I want it to kind of have a splattered effect as well. And then I'm coming in with smaller amounts here of purple distress ink. This is in Dusty Concord, and I'm just adding a couple of spots all the way around the circle there. And again, just adding it with a paintbrush and smishing it down with the packaging. That wasn't quite giving the effect I was after, so now I'm just lifting a little bit of ink up and adding it to a second bit of packaging and using that to smush it down onto my layout. And that's the effect I was going for there, kind of a messy circle. And now I want to add some splatters in, so I'm just using some scrap card there, excuse me, and the cardstock I cut my cut file from initially, just to try and keep my splatters contained within that circle. And now I'm just adding some towards the edge of my circle and just using my hand there as a guard to try and stop the splatters going all over my page. And I've done those splatters in both the colours, so Chipped Sapphire and Dusty Concord. So that's really simple mixed media for me today, not particularly difficult, but I really do like the effect of it. Now on the original layout, their circular element they've coloured as well in blue. My initial plan was to colour mine in either a purple or a dark blue colour, but I decided I liked the contrast of the white against that mixed media, so I'm actually going to leave mine white. And I'm just having a play. I've fussy cut lots of florals and leaves from this collection, and I'm just having a play now, placing things around to see where I might like to put them. This layout really came together really quickly actually for me. Normally I faff about an awful lot with things, but literally where things landed on this layout, they got stuck. So really quick for me, which is surprising considering it's a new collection and something completely out of my comfort zone. So maybe there's something in that. Maybe I need to try new things more often. So I'm just going to add a layer of tissue paper behind my photo for a little bit more texture. Normally I mount my photos onto white cardstock, but I didn't feel like that would be right for this layout. I didn't feel like it would be in keeping with everything else on the page, so I didn't. And then at the end, I'm not entirely happy that I didn't. It does bug me. but I really don't think it would have looked right, so I've left it off for this one. I've added some craft foam behind my photo, and then I remembered that my Bramble Fox title is an acrylic perspective, so it's got quite a bit of dimension, so I didn't need any foam underneath where the word take was going to sit. And with all Bramble Fox perspectives, they come with a layer of plastic film on the front and back, so I just have to remove all of that, and then it leaves this lovely shiny acrylic title for my layout. So like I said, everything pretty much got stuck where it landed, so I just took some time off camera to glue everything down exactly where it was, and I'm really liking how this layout is looking at the moment. I'm bringing in some cheesecloth to add behind my photo, just for a bit more texture and interest to the page. I start off with quite a large bit and end up cutting it down several times because it was just too big. I just wanted it just to peek out from underneath my photo in a couple of places there, so I just keep cutting it down until I'm happy with it. So once I'm happy, I use some glossy accents to stick that down to make sure it holds. And my trusty tape dispenser there is just keeping that in place. So now I've got some embellishments from the same collection. I've got some banners and tags, some floral like circular stickers, and some round circular tags, and I'm just having a play to see what I can use. I want to build a cluster in that top left hand corner just to balance the page out a little bit, because I've offset the main element of my cut file to the right hand side. So I'm just trying to build a cluster up the top there to balance that. These stickers here I found were a bit too small, but the round tags were a bit too big. I wanted something in between. So I picked out my circle punches and managed to get this one to fit quite nicely in the smaller punch here, and centered with the floral bit. So I punched that out, and then realised that made it pretty much exactly the same size as the circle stickers, which I already knew were too small. So a bit of an epic fail there, but I don't think I used that in the end, so that will be kept for another layout. But yeah, I really should have measured that up before punching a hole through my tag there. So now, just to tie the layout together, I'm going to add the same style of mixed media just at the top there behind the tags and the kind of banner pieces. So this is some chipped sapphire distress oxide again, and then I'm going to come back on top of that with the purple dusty Concord, and I'm just using the packaging technique again. I faffed quite a bit with this cluster. I think I was trying to make two banners work, and they're both quite long, so in the end I cut them down to make them slightly smaller. And I've stuck that floral one down flat, and then this one here that says together, I'm raising that up on foam pads, and then I'll just trim them down. So that's the bulk of my layout completed there. Just trying to find a place for that circle, but it didn't make it in the end. And now I'm just going to add a few final touches. So I've got a pack of mini heart perspectives here from Bramble Fox. They are pink and navy I use on this, and I just scatter a few around my layout. Again, I like to use glossy accents to stick my perspectives down because I find it holds much better than PVA glue. I used to use PVA, but then when you flick back through your albums kind of a year later, my perspectives were always floating at the bottom of my page protector. They never stuck. So I use glossy accents now, and that always holds them really well. I've put one of the round tags from the collection just at the top of my photo there, and they've got punched holes in, So I'm just adding a piece of thin twine up the top there just for a bit more texture and just to give that a more finished look. And then I've got a little dish here that I've picked out from my stash, some shades of kind of purple, navy and maroon. I've got sequins and little like crystal jewels there, and just adding a scattering of those around. And again, I will stick those with glossy accents. I don't want to go too mad, but it's just a little bit of something to add a bit of sparkle to the layout. So just whilst I'm finishing off with the sequins and jewels, I'll take a moment just to remind you that this is part of a YouTube hop today from Mixed Media Frenzy. It's the usual team of us girls, so in the description box below I will pop links to the other ladies' channels, so please do have a watch of their videos as well. We are all taking inspiration from or scrap lifting the same layout, so you'll get different interpretations of the same layout, which I always find really interesting. We always interpret things different or take inspiration from different elements in the layout we've chosen, so it is really interesting. So like I said, their links will be down in the description box below, and it'd be great if you could hit the subscribe button on all their channels. Oh, another one, Bramble Fox, I forgot to stuck down there. I always tilt my pages just to make sure everything's stuck, and I actually managed to miss one there. And then that's my layout pretty much finished. Off camera I did add a couple of wood veneer hearts that I'd forgotten to add initially, but that is the layout finished. So thank you for joining me. Please do remember to hit that subscribe button, and I shall leave you with the close-ups of my layout, but thanks for joining.